our trash away. A lot of people don't realize what away is. They just know it's no longer there. It's away. And in most cases, away is into a landfill. We have extremely low fees for dumping trash into landfills. The average is right around $25 a ton in Alabama, whereas the national average is closer to $45 a ton.
In Alabama, we have a plethora of landfills, which has used up a lot of natural space, but it's not always beneficial for the communities. You have people that are dumping not just from across the state, but you've got people from across the country that are sending their waste to Alabama.
They just put it on rail, send it down to us.
They put trash on a train in New Jersey and they ship it down to the South.
Even more depressing is our state legislature actually last year voted to decrease the fees for disposing of hazardous waste in our state. So now it's even cheaper for other states to send us their hazardous waste.
Some would say we have plenty of land available in Alabama, and we do. We are very blessed with a lot of open land, but just because we have it doesn't mean that it's the best idea to waste it and use it up for something that long-term could have negative impacts. If a community were to incorporate a robust recycling program alongside of a landfill, it lengthens the amount of time that a landfill can last. It provides valuable products for the potential of recruiting industrial manufacturers to those communities. That's an industry that they're bringing into their community that provides tax base, provides jobs, and it captures a valuable resource that doesn't have to be generated elsewhere to be brought into the community.
I think it's a good thing going on.
So, what do you know about recycling?
Don't ask me that, I don't know. So I think it's important to have it be really accessible to everyone. So it's easy to do, because in our day and age, people are going to do what's easy. If you make recycling easy, it gets done more, I guess.
Give me an example of recycling.
Collecting cans and turning them in, using those reusable bags at Publix. Water filters at the house instead of water bottles at the house. I don't know.
Well, recycling, from what I know, is where you have things that you don't need anymore yourself, and you kind of just give them to somebody who can just make them into something else, like for something new.
So recycling starts at home or at your business, right? Wherever you are, wherever you're using a consumer good is where recycling starts. And then of course it ends, for most people, at their home. They put it in their curbside bin and then it gets picked up by a truck. That truck then takes it to a material recovery facility, or MRF for short.
This is where all the curbside recycling is dropped off from the communities surrounding Birmingham. The starting point is right here, where our incline is, feeding up to the system. And if you look below, it's what I like to call our boat chains. It's actually a metering device. And what it does is make sure the system gets a continuous feed of material, but at a burden depth that's even throughout the whole system. That makes it easier for the sorters to be able to collect the trash at the first station. Anything that cannot be recycled is picked by these gentlemen and thrown down the trash chutes. All the heavier material, the plastics and the metals, roll down underneath onto a separate belt that goes to the other side of the system where our Eagle Vision is. We take all of our inventory and we store it in this warehouse. This helps us be able to identify them right away, do daily inventory, load them up, and conduct our outbound shipments for every day.
We are a PET recycler. PET is what a Coke bottle is made out of. We bring in about 200 million pounds annually, and we go through a process to clean that material into a food grade product, either bottle flake or pellets that's used back into new food packaging. We employ directly about 160 employees here in Athens, 3 separate facilities that we operate. We support, tons of local jobs, from garbage haulers to, the machine shops to using utilities and water, and but 160 employees that we hire directly is minuscule to the people that we're supporting in the community. So it's much better to create those jobs and add that to the economy than to just throw it in a landfill and bury it. Right now, nationwide, we collect about 30% of PET. So 70% of it's going in a landfill. If we could collect a much higher percentage of that material, it would create a lot more jobs. And especially in the South and like Alabama, our recycling rate is in the single digits. So we have a huge room for growth and huge room for employing more people to recycle that 90% that's going in the landfill.
KW Plastics is the world's largest plastics recycler located in Troy, Alabama. We have been recycling plastic since 1980. So one of the misconceptions I think that people have about recycling is they consider recycling an environmental movement. Recycling is not reuse. It's not finding a cool craft project for your milk jugs to make a milk jug into a birdseeder. For us, recycling is a business. It's a way that I can provide for my family as well as 300 employees. We have the available resources in our state. They're in the ground, but we do have them. And we have markets that are just like KW Plastics that are located all along the state and the Southeast that are begging for these materials.
The state of Alabama conducted a study back in 2011 and determined that we spend $25 million a year to throw away $193 million worth of recyclable commodities. So yeah, it is like throwing money away, literally throwing money away.
The city of Troy's been recycling for almost 30 years. Recycling has been a crucial part of the economy here. I'm not the type of person that wants the government to come and twist my arm and say, you have to do this, 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 and this. What I do believe is you have to recognize it as a resource. Very frankly, the thing that sort of comes to mind, there's a parable in the Bible where 3 men were given a certain amount of money, and one of them took it and buried it in the ground. He was the one that did wrong. I mean, the others tried to use it. That's really what we're doing. We're taking what we have and we're burying it in the ground. It makes no sense.
Well, to me, it's really simple. If you read Genesis, you'll read that we're called to be stewards of creation. And by stewards of creation, it means we should be caretakers of creation. We've been recycling here for a long time. It's really difficult to recycle out here in the country. Well, barriers to recycling are many because our culture is not educating people in regards to the importance and value of recycling.
Being in Alabama, we're not as urbanized as a lot of the rest of the country, so recycling can be a difficult prospect for a lot of the rural communities. The state of Alabama is unique from a lot of other states and did not have a program except for landfilling of old scrap tires. So the state of Alabama, through the Alabama Department of Environmental Management in partnership with Coffee County, went together and put the facility in. While landfilling is relatively cheap in the state of Alabama as far as space available, tires take up space and they never go away, and it's never going to decompose in a landfill. So diverting those tires from a landfill actually helps the landfill as well.
As it stands today, the U.S. recycling industry is larger than our auto manufacturing sector.
In 2001, we started our operations here at Honda Manufacturing of Alabama as a zero landfill facility. Our zero landfill approach is to either try and minimize waste at the beginning, which is our primary focus, is to engineer our systems to where we generate no waste if possible. If we do generate waste, then we would like to reuse it internally. Where that's not possible, we would send it off to a recycling facility for their reuse. And as a final outlet, we would send it to a waste energy facility where we would at least see some recovery of the heat content value of that material as a fuel. Maybe recycling, maybe moving through the world sustainably is considered 60s speak or Earth Day type mentalities. I think you can develop sustainable business practices and not sacrifice your bottom line. To us at Honda, recycling is good business.
Without environmentalists and without hippies, recycling would still exist because it is big business. In Alabama alone, it's a $6.6 billion industry.
If we don't do more recycling, if we were just to stop all recycling today, then you would see a lot more negative impacts on the environment. We would be putting a lot of pollution in our local waterways. We would be polluting our streets, our vacant properties. We'd have a lot more illegal dumps. And we would be losing out on a valuable commodity that manufacturers in Alabama depend on.
If Alabama recycled just 10% more annually, that could potentially create 1,400 new jobs, $66 million in personal income, and over $3 million in state tax revenue. For Alabama, our missing piece really is infrastructure, which means access. So having more recycling bins, more communities that offer recycling participation, and having Alabamians that understand recycling.
Thank you.